Day one at InsurTech New York, it just wrapped up and it moved fast, but underneath the buzz, there was some real signals that deserve much more than a soundbite. From bold keynotes to hallway breakthroughs, we covered hard questions that opened the doors to real answers. You could feel it in every room. This audience, they're not just here for hype, they're here to build smarter, they're here to lead faster and push through the noise. Let's take a look back at how day one actually played out. Every session today had a different angle, but one thing is clear, that the leaders in these rooms, they're not theorizing, they're executing. And what stood out was just how many of us are carrying the same weight. We're navigating business priorities that shift weekly, we're trying to push innovation forward while managing legacy systems that barely keep the lights on. And yet, these leaders, they aren't waiting for perfect conditions, they're getting scrappy. They're simplifying the path forward, and even when the organization resists. One panel, they even talked about how modernization is not about ripping out technology, it's about making smarter decisions with what you already have. Another panel drilled into the reality that if your data's a mess, your strategy is not going to scale, no matter how shiny the tool. And then there was the honest and sometimes raw conversations around burnout, not just on the tech teams, but across the business. The answer? It's more alignment, more clarity, and less noise. But the most powerful through line was leadership, and not the title, it's the behavior. Everyone who spoke today was modeling what it means to lead through change, managing up and building trust, and focusing on what actually moves the needle. So if you're feeling stretched thin or stuck in a constant reaction mode, take heart. The folks leading the real transformations, they're not doing it because things are easy, doing it because they got focused, they cleared the clutter, and they're starting to do less but better. So day one is in the books, but the conversation, it's just getting started. Day two, it brought clarity, and it wasn't just about disruption, it was about direction. It was about leaders making real moves and sharing what actually works. The conversations we had today had real weight, and we heard things like leaders dismantling outdated thinking and replacing it with long game strategies. We heard about next-gen carriers who they're not just surviving legacy, they're actually redefining it. And we also heard from century-old mutuals who are undergoing a cultural rewiring, if you will, and public companies as well who are using things called life settlements to reshape their balance sheets. We also saw bold bets paying off. We explored embedded insurance and buy versus build trade-offs and how true transformation starts with actually aligning incentives, not just integrating tech. Panels broke down what it takes to scale MGAs responsibly and why balance sheet health matters now more than ever. We also heard about how AI will only be as good as the data and governance that it's built on. On the life and annuity side, we heard a real stark wake-up call. Most carriers still don't know when their customers die. And that's not just morbid, it's a missed opportunity to modernize operations, serve better, and lead smarter. It wasn't just theory, it was about the blueprint. So day two didn't just wrap up an event, it confirmed something we already knew, that the way our industry is working is changing, and the ones who are asking better questions are the ones that are moving faster. We saw leaders challenge legacy thinking, and we saw teams that share what's actually working. We saw people who aren't just watching this shift, but they're actually driving it. So this isn't about buzzwords and breakout sessions, it's about aligning strategy with speed, innovation with execution, and people with purpose. And that's why we'll be back next year. Because progress, it doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in rooms like these. So thanks for being part of the event, and we'll see you in 2026.